from people I know who work in healthcare, on the news, on just about every station and just about every newspaper, and around the world. The fact that nurses, healthcare workers on the front lines during the pandemic particularly burned out and exhausted and getting just fed up. They just don't want to take it anymore. And I've heard of nurses and other healthcare workers just quitting. And this is not just an Ontario thing. It's an international phenomenon. I'm looking at an article from Trinidad and Tobago Newsday, where they're reporting over 100 nurses have left the healthcare system in Trinidad and Tobago, which is tiny. Imagine 100 nurses they've left in the last year seeking employment elsewhere. And they're being poached from there by us. Jurisdictions in Canada looking to backfill shortages of nurses, reaching out to smaller countries. I've heard and talked with friends who are in nursing here in Ontario who have been approached, nursing students even, who haven't even completed their training, being recruited aggressively by Winnipeg and Manitoba with all sorts of offers to get paid all sorts of money. Not great money, but better money than here. And, an opportunity, a lot of expenses covered. So, if the nurses are leaving here or leaving the business, the nursing profession, where are they going? Like, where is this greener pasture? My guest is someone I think you will enjoy. Her name is Ovie Onagbeboma, and she's the founder and executive director of the Canadian Black Nurses Alliance. Ovie, welcome to the program.
Thank you for welcoming me today, Mark.
So in full disclosure, I have met Ovie before. I met her through some friends. We had a conversation. I thought, wow, this is interesting. Different perspective. People should hear more of this. So I thought you would be a great guest on this because, one, you've got the nursing perspective, but you also have, a slightly unique point of view. So from a broader perspective within nursing, how common is it that nurses in Ontario, we're talking mostly people in the GTA right now, are leaving their jobs wherever they are? And are they leaving nursing or are they leaving Ontario for some greener pasture somewhere?
So the challenge in Ontario is real. I don't think we've gotten a full glimpse of what's coming and what is currently happening. So nurses are leaving both the profession and the province. So for example, a member today indicated that she left Ontario in the hospital setting to pursue nursing elsewhere, another province that was paying double the rate and had signing bonuses. So nurses are taking advantage of pivoting and utilizing their transferable skills into other sectors, such as the private sector as well.
Well, that's one of the things that interested me because, we think of nurses leaving and being poached, as I've talked about, and that seems to be happening. And we are both guilty of poaching as well as the victims of being poached in Ontario. I guess it's always sort of greener on the other side of the fence. But the idea that nurses are leaving the nursing profession, where are they going, members of your association, the Canadian Black Nursing Association, Nurses Alliance, where are they going?
So you have a variation of different opportunities that are coming. So nurses have the opportunity to work as travel nurses. Some have gone to the States, particularly Florida. Others have, gone to the province of British Columbia. Some have left the, profession entirely and taken on other opportunities in different sectors. And some are just, quite frankly, just taking a break, pausing, and just putting their mental health first because, the reality of the 2 years of the pandemic, feeling undervalued, feeling underrepresented, and not seeing any change has made them, consider putting themselves first, whereas the previous practice for some of these members were selfless and putting, the patients and work first. But the last 2 years have taken a toll on quite a bit of nurses in Ontario.
You're one of the first people in nursing that has pointed out to me something that I first ran into with my own sister-in-law, who's a critical care nurse in British Columbia, has been for years. And about 4 years ago, she got a new job as the chief executive officer of the biggest hospital in the interior of BC. And when I heard about that, I asked my brother, do you mean she's in charge of the nurses there? And he said, no. She's the CEO of the hospital. She hires and fires the doctors. She sets the budget. She runs the place. And that sort of made me think about what you've just mentioned a minute ago, the transferability of skills that nurses develop. And you mentioned that some of your members are actually finding, their futures in the private sector or non-healthcare fields. Tell me more about that and the skills that nurses port to other places and where they're finding themselves.
So in order for me to tell you about that, I have to also say that, Canadian Black Nurses Alliance is a national organization for Canadian Black nurses with a mission to build a community that empowers Canadian Black nurses to achieve their goals. So that means that we support our members in taking their transferable skills and pivoting into sectors and expanding their realm of possibilities as it relates to different career paths and opportunities. Recognizing when our members are saying they feel undervalued, underrepresented, underappreciated, oftentimes they're looking very narrowly on where their career path and their opportunities can go. So as you share your sister-in-law as a chief nursing executive and a CEO of a hospital, that is not something that is unachievable. It's something that we push our members to recognize that there is a pathway to get there, and this is how you navigate it. And we actually do have a chief nursing executive and a VP who is a Black nurse in our province of Ontario. So seeing that representation is making our members recognize that there's so much opportunities into going into different jobs or pursuits that are often not bedside.
Yeah, it's interesting because again, from my sister-in-law's example, when I thought about it, I realized I couldn't think of anybody who would be better qualified to be the CEO of a major hospital. She knows, what she learned from nursing was how to deal with people, how to understand people, what motivates them, how to inspire them, how to comfort them, and how to recognize, what they're concerned about. And she knew everybody in that hospital and every nook and cranny, and she was used to managing and training and leading. All of those are skills that are great as a CEO, but any business would probably scoop somebody up with those soft skills.
Definitely. So they can go into law, consulting, starting their own business, product and sales. The possibilities are endless. And as you look at innovation and technology now, there's so much things that nurses can do to empower the community that pivots themselves beyond the acute care setting or community setting.
Excuse me, my lips are sticking together. Ovie Onagbeboma from the Canadian Black Nurses Alliance. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Mark. You have a good New Year.
Take care. Happy New Year. Fascinating. I think it's interesting because it's the first time. It was the first time I spoke with anybody at this dinner that I was at. From most professional associations that are public sector focused, they spend their time advocating for a change in the government policy, or whining about something, quite frankly. And the refreshing approach that that Ovie was taking and her group, which was, yeah, things should change, and we advocate for that. But we're also here not so much just for nursing, but we're here for nurses. And there are some limitations on where nurses are going to go and how much they're ever going to make as nurses. So there's lots of transferable skills, and they're helping their members find places for those if they don't want to spend the rest of their life in nursing. A lot of them do. A lot of them, it's a passion, and that's all they've really ever wanted to do was to help people. But others are finding that, the skills they learned doing what they do are valuable elsewhere. And that's a lesson that I think most of us can take no matter where we are now. All of those soft skills, the management skills, the people leadership skills, the problem-solving skills that you learn, you can use those in any business, in any organization, in any sector, anywhere. Hey, yes.